Hello, and welcome to my vocabulary video presentation for the course Language Skills. In this presentation, I'll be discussing the definition of my selected word as well as go through the collocations associated with said word. Without further ado, let's get right into it. The word that I have selected to present is the noun form of the word levy. Levy. The word means an imposing or collecting as of a tax by authority or force, as mentioned on dictionary.com. We then have an example sentence which states, the government imposed a levy on gasoline, indicating the word levy as some sort of synonym of tax. The noun form of levy should not be confused by the verb form, which almost has the same meaning as the noun. The verb form, giving example to levy a tax, has the same synonym as, for an example, impose, while the noun form, giving example to impose a levy, has the same synonym as fee or tax. While the sentence to levy a levy wouldn't be something someone says, you could still see the potential confusion between the two terms. There's also a second historical definition of the word levy, mostly used for military reasons. Also known as levy en masse, it's described as the act of drafting into military service or the conscription of troops. Even this military term has its own verb form that is very similar to the noun. The verb form would have its similarities to words such as to raise or to recruit troops, while the noun form represents troops that are already recruited. But since the militaristic definition of this word isn't often used outside of military-related terms, we're going to be focusing the remainder of this video on the original tax noun. Levy can also be heavily associated more as a last name, as Koka has given me results of names like Chandra, David, Marv, as well as titles like Mr., Doctor, Minister, etc. Next up is collocations. Unfortunately, due to levy being a word that isn't often used today, the list of associated words also happen to be small, but nonetheless, we still got a result to showcase. Introducing the verbs, as you can see in the picture, the list is very small, but we can already see a clear top 4 with pay, approved, call, and passed. If we included all verb forms in the list, the top 6 would include approve with 11, pay with 10, pass with 9, impose with 8, and increase and call together with 7. Continuing to the example sentences, we can clearly see that all of them are still connected with the tax meaning of the word. The payment of the levy, the approval of a to-be-created levy, the name of the levy, the actual approval of a levy, and the creation of a new levy. If we continue to the adjectives, we can again see the problem with a short length list of words, with the most used adjective new just used 14 times, and barely 3 words reaching 5 usages each. But alas, we can still connect them to the noun. Starting with the first sentence, the meaning behind the new 7 mil levy indicates, simply, a newly made tax on a mill property. A local tax levy mostly refers to some sort of levy surrounding a specific area, and while the first sentence uses the word local as well, the use of that word is mostly put on a property instead of relating to the specific levy. An annual levy indicates a levy that has its payments once every year, and finally, a small mill levy indicates a small payment for a mill property. Away from verbs and adjectives, we have general common words associated with the noun levy. This time, the list is bigger than the other two, and we get to see a lot more words that shows a stronger association with levy and the act of taxing. We see recurring words like increase, pay, approved, and local, but we also see a lot of stronger words like tax, mill, percent, property, and district. The sentences give us good examples. A tax levy is very simple, meaning the same as if levy stood alone as a word. A mill levy is more complicated, but it would simply mean a property levy used more by local governments. Percentages meaning how much the levy would either increase or decrease, or how much it will cost. Property tax levy suggests simply a levy located around some sort of property. And finally, a levy circulating around districts has its meaning behind taxation within a specific geographical area. Examples like Orlando, Florida, aka the city, and not just the whole state. With all of that said, I want to take a quick summary of what I have mentioned. The word levy is a noun and indicates an act of opposing a tax, fee, or fine, and has synonyms like tax, fee, toll, imposition, and tariff. It has a verb form that is very much alike its noun form. The noun can be heavily associated with verbs such as impose, approval, pass, increase, as well as adjectives such as new, local, and annual. Besides the word classes, noun is also commonly associated with other words such as tax, male, percentage, property, and district. And with that, I will now wrap up this video presentation. I thank you for listening to my explanation and I hope you learned a lot about this very uncommon word. Bye bye!